Hello world. You should see my setup right now. There's Luna. There's Winona. There's BB. Hey everyone, so today's video is for all of the new moms out there who might be feeling scared and who might be feeling sad and afraid, unsure, nervous, and oh, one moment please. There we go. And I'm just here to tell you that, oh shoot! Oh girl! Oh gosh. Luna, please get out of the mix. Thanks, honey. We're okay. We're okay. Luna! Same. We're just here to tell you that, well, we're going to share our story. I'm going to share my story. I guess it is kind of our story, huh? It's our story, huh, Winona? Luna, lay down. Fucking Christ, mate. We're just here to tell you that it's okay to not feel okay. I know I didn't feel okay for a while and I thought it was going to be that way forever. I was afraid and scared and sad and nervous and unsure, and I had all of these emotions and they weren't pleasant ones. I'm here to share my experience with you because I know if I felt that way, that there's someone out there who's feeling the same way as I did. And just let you know that it gets better. And I know right now, if you are in this state, that it probably feels like it's never going to be better and that you're a shitty mom, or that you have all these emotions going through your mind and your body, but it does get better. I'm back to myself, back to my normal self, back to reality, like I've landed, and I'm excited for my new life, our new life, me, Logan, and Winona's new life together. I'm just gonna share my experience, what I went through, and what I feel like contributed to my emotional state and the way that I was feeling. So for the first few weeks, I was feeling really, I guess alone is the best word to describe it, even though consciously I knew I had a really good support system. But I was feeling really alone in what I was experiencing. That right off the bat just made me feel generally afraid because I wasn't sure if that feeling was going to continue on throughout my experience. Let me try to put her down. We'll just see if she'll sit right here in my lap. So if you see me jiggling, like my head moving around, I'm rocking her. I'll show you. Say hi. Yeah, so I wasn't sure if that feeling was going to continue on into the rest of my parenthood journey, and really I was just generally exhausted and I couldn't really process things as I would normally. I was feeling super overwhelmed because becoming a parent is like a true reality shift. So I got home from the hospital and days just seemed like they were flying by. They were just, and I was just sitting in my bed nursing Winona. That's how it felt like. It felt like I was just sitting in my bed nursing Winona, having this whole new experience, and the world was just moving around me. That is exactly how the days felt. I would try to pull myself back into normalcy, like I would try to hop into the world again, and it just wasn't practical to do because I was taking care of her. I was also in a lot of pain. So I was trying to like do things to regain my sense of self, and I just couldn't. And I think that was also one of the most frustrating parts about those first few weeks of parent for me, was not being able to like do the things that brought me stability or do the things that brought me joy. Like for example, I really enjoyed going to the gym, and I just couldn't do that. Obviously I knew I couldn't do that, but like it really happening and it really being a part of your everyday existence is just something else. Also, another example is I had a morning routine that I really enjoyed and that really brought me a lot of like mental clarity and what helped me regulate my emotions. I would wash my face, do my gua sha, and then I would meditate for 15 minutes, and I did that every day for the past like 6 months or something like that, maybe a little bit shorter. So I was doing it consistently every single day, and then when I went back to go do those things, or at least try to attempt to do some of them, I couldn't. And I think that was one of the most frustrating things, and what made me feel like so nervous about the whole thing was am I ever going to feel normal again? So I was doing those things to try to regain my sense of normalcy, and I couldn't. And so I just had to sit there and just try to process it all mentally, but also I couldn't do that because I was sleep deprived. So my brain was like out the window. I was in labor for 3 days. Ooh, you okay, sleepyhead? I was in labor for 3 days, and I might make another full video about it, but to make a long story short, yeah, I was in labor for 3 days. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to relive that trauma. Me and Logan didn't sleep for that amount of time. Like, I was in active labor for, I think, over 17 hours, so we were freaking exhausted. Here and there we would sleep like a couple of hours, but it was not okay. We were not okay. Logan was kind of hallucinating a little bit, and I think I was a little bit too, until I was able to get the epidural and like kind of chill out. I didn't plan on getting an epidural, but I had to because I was so exhausted. I seriously would have died if I didn't have medical intervention. So you give birth, you go through this whole laboring process, and then immediately after that, your baby's there. At that time, right when they're born, if you're breastfeeding, they're cluster feeding like crazy. So you're up constantly, and you never really have a chance to recuperate, I think, from sleep. And I know I didn't have a chance to recuperate at all from sleep until recently. So I think that's a huge factor of what made the transition from not being a parent into parenthood so difficult for me in my experience, was just the pure lack of sleep. I couldn't process things as I normally would because I was so just absolutely sleep deprived. And then on top of all of that, my relationship with Logan just totally also took another shift. Like, we went into a new reality together. Like, our relationship just went to the next step. I think that was also difficult to process because I mean, I like a lot of attention in relationships. So realizing that he was going to have to divide up that attention freaked me out a little bit. Not that like I'm jealous or anything like that. It's just a shift that I don't think that I mentally prepared enough for, or I don't even think that you can prepare enough for that. But definitely something I wasn't expecting. Obviously, Logan is really good to me, so it's not that he was going to treat me any different. It was more just like realizing that our time together was going to have to be spent a little bit differently than how it had been spent in the past. Along with all of like the physical stuff that's happening around you, like your relationship, you've got your body is fucked up, you're bleeding, you can't even walk. Like I couldn't walk straight because I ended up getting an epidural, and my spine hurt, so I could barely get up out of bed. So on top of your body being all jacked up, your hormones are going nutso in there. So your hormones are regulating and going back to normal. Essentially what you're experiencing is baby blues. It is the moodiness, refers to the moodiness, weepiness, irritability, and emotional ups and downs that happen in the first weeks post-birth. So on top of all of that physical stuff that's changing around you, I was experiencing baby blues, and it was really, really difficult to maneuver that because I had no control over it. And I think that's what the kicker is. Everything was changing and falling and rising, and I was crying for no reason, and I was afraid and I was scared. I would just become sometimes so overwhelmed, and anytime I would get a moment alone, it would just waterfall. I would just start crying. So if you're finding yourself having those moments alone, crying, sitting in a closet alone, you're not alone. It's funny, my midwife actually asked me that question on one of my first appointments. She asked me, she would say, "Hey, how's mama doing? Have you been crying in a closet lately?" And that was like on one of my first postpartum appointments, and I was like, heh, no, I'm fine, because I thought what I was experiencing wasn't normal. But in reality, it's extremely normal. But there's like a level of guilt, I think, that comes with having these feelings. So when I was feeling sad, I didn't really want to share that with anyone because I felt guilty. I was kind of confused why I wasn't instantly loving motherhood, or why I wasn't instantly connecting with Winona, or that I was attracting attention to myself when I was crying instead of having the attention on her. And so I think there's this level of mom guilt that becomes associated with these feelings, with these negative emotions. I wouldn't want to share my real emotions because I just felt bad, and I honestly felt weird. I felt like people would think that I was weird. I didn't really want any more attention on me than what I thought I was already creating. The other thing I want to bring up too that I kind of realized more recently, I realized this because, like I said in the beginning, I really wasn't able to process shit. Like, I couldn't, nothing. I was not in the mental space to process my emotions in the way that I normally do or the way that I wanted to. Another reason I think that I was feeling so low, other than all the stuff I mentioned before, was that I was grieving a part of myself that died when I became a mom. So I was grieving the old version of me. I was grieving my not losing my youth, but that young version of me that wasn't a mom. I was finally letting go, or being pushed. I was finally being pushed and guided to let go of my past, to let go of my youth, and to let go of that old version of me so that I could grow into this new version of me, which is me as a mother. That part really freaked me out because I had identified with myself for, 26 years, and I've known myself for 26 years, and I'm unfamiliar with this new version of myself or how we're going to operate together, me, myself, and Winona, like how I'm going to operate in this new role as a mom. And I think I was really afraid to fully let that go. But I had this intuition when I was in the bathroom taking a shower. I had gotten like a few minutes, I think, to take a shower. I think it might have been one of those difficult days. I might have recorded some of it. If I did, I'll insert it now. Been a crazy day, huh, Winona? You had a crazy day. So today was definitely not an easy day. It's really hard for me to talk about moments like this or record moments like this because I feel like just so vulnerable sometimes. She was really, really gassy, and but I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that she was gassy, but she was not stopping. Like, she was crying for 3 hours straight, and I just like broke down, and I was just crying also. So we were just both crying. And I had heard this little voice in my head that was like, the more you try to fight this or resist it, the more difficult it's going to be. So what that told me was, the more I resist becoming a mother, or the more I resist parenthood or resist all of these changes that are happening to me, and the more that I try to be like my old self, the more difficult this new path is going to be, because you have to really let go of your old self in order to fully become the parent and the mom that you're supposed to be, that you are now. And a lot of the images that we see on motherhood, or what we see motherhood is like, neglects to talk about how insane the transition can be and how insane it is. Me personally, I had a different expectation of what those first few weeks were going to look like. I expected myself to feel instantly connected to my baby, and I knew I was going to be in recovery. I just expected myself to be a little bit more able to be more present in those moments, and I wasn't able to do that because of all of those things I mentioned: the hormone changes, the lack of sleep, the mom guilt. And so I wasn't able to be as present as I thought. And I definitely also felt mom guilt for not feeling connected to my child instantly. Like, it didn't happen just instantly, for me at least. And I think that's also so normal for women to experience, but we feel guilty talking about it because we feel like we should be able to connect with our child instantly, or that there's something inherently wrong with us if we don't feel instantly connected to our child. But the reality of it is you're tired, your hormones are changing, your home life is changing, your body hurts, like you literally just birthed a child, and your baby is also equally as confused. They used to be in the womb for 9 months, and now they're in this cold place with all these sounds and lights and all this noise, and they're freaking out, crying, and they're hungry, and they're, you know, experiencing this whole new world. They are unsure about this new reality just as much as you are right now, so it's okay to not feel that connection to your baby right away. It'll happen over time. Like, realistically, like, you're new to them and they're new to you. I think sometimes it takes that time to really develop into each other and get to know each other and get to understand one another. I definitely can say, like, for the first few weeks, I didn't have that connection with Winona, the same connection that I do with her today. And today we're exactly 28. So today's the 28th, and she was born on the 24th of last month. So it's gonna be, today's about a month and 4 days. So I feel so connected to her. Like, I know what she wants now. We have like a little system going, like we are working together to get things done, and just we're existing a lot more cohesively together than we were in the first few weeks. And I just love her. I love her. She's so cute. Before, I felt in the first few weeks, I definitely can say I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like super elated to be a mom. I didn't feel super stoked on parenthood. Like, I just felt sad and confused and scared. But yeah, so it's been a month and 4 days, and I can genuinely say that I feel such a deeper connection to her, and I expect that that's just going to get deeper and deeper as we grow up together and grow with each other, and I'm excited for that. And just in case I didn't express this enough, it gets better, so much better. During the transition period, I could not see the light, but now I feel so much more comfortable in who I am, what I'm doing, and I'm excited to watch Winona grow up, and excited to watch me and Logan's relationship grow stronger. And each day I find myself just falling more in love with Winona and falling more in love with my role as a mother. I'm just super grateful for this special time I have with Winona, because one day I'm going to look back on these moments and miss them. But in the first few weeks, I can definitely say that, like, I didn't feel that. I felt so detached from her. And then back to the mom guilt again. I felt really guilty for feeling that detachment. I felt like I should feel a certain way, that I should feel in love with her, that I should feel overjoyed about being a parent. And the reality of it was that I just wasn't. And it's okay to feel that way too. If you're experiencing this right now, my advice is to tell someone how you feel. Tell someone, tell anyone. And if you don't have anyone to tell around you, just comment in the comment section. Once those emotions are brought up into the light, they have less control over you because you're now aware of them. You're able to understand them, and you put yourself in a really good position to work through them and become familiar with them instead of letting them control you and how you feel. At least that's how it works for me. So when I'm able to, like, voice how I'm feeling, or even if I can journal it down or write a letter to myself, or just any way to kind of get it out. And I think that's one of the most important things during this period of time, is to really express how you're feeling to those people around you. And if you don't feel comfortable, like I said, with anyone, write it down, anything, because it's really important for you to not go deeper into those negative emotions or attach yourself to those negative emotions. I didn't want to go deeper and deeper into the dark hole that I was traveling down. I wanted to be able to process those emotions, and I wanted to connect with my baby, and I wanted all of those positive things. And so just be really mindful of that and share how you're feeling with other people. That is all for today. I hope that I was able to help you out and let you know that you're not alone, that everything's gonna be okay. I am proof that things get better, and relatively quickly. So don't be so hard on yourself. Understand that you're under an immense amount of pressure right now, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So don't be so hard on yourself. You're doing a great job. You're doing enough. As long as you're doing what you think is best and trying your best, that is all that matters. And yeah, so we'll see you next time.